Hi dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, this is Dr. Harnet, your Africa Business Trainer online and offline, and a warm welcome from Kigali, Rwanda. Now it has been a little bit of an East African trip. I went all the way through Tanzania, then Kenya, now I'm in Rwanda and I'll be back in Kenya this evening, and it has been all about business and investment. And today I want to dive into the question, is Rwanda too small for my business? Now, you may have heard it that very often we read about the fact that yes, Rwanda has an enabling business environment, but the market is simply too small. Now, just to give you a quick perspective, so Rwanda has about 12 million people, and Kigali, the capital city, has just under 1 million. And I absolutely understand that in African terms or even in global terms, that is rather a small market size. And today I really want to quickly discuss this with you because I came across entrepreneurs here who were telling me the same thing. Oh yeah, I've tried but didn't work out. Rwanda is simply too small. And I've come across international businesses that said the same. So yes, great market, but it's simply too small. And so I have a feeling that the issue of market size is something that sometimes you read about it and it kind of circulates as a truth. And therefore, when you don't succeed or when you want to assess it, you take that on board. Oh, the market size is simply too small. Now, here's the thing. First of all, what I want you to know is that Rwanda is part of the East African community. The East African community is one of 8 trade regions in Africa. So yes, I know a lot of you are aware of Africa wanting to become one trade region, and I think that's a brilliant vision and we'll get there one day. But at the moment, Africa has 8 trade regions. The East African trade region, where Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, are part of Uganda as well, and then we have Burundi and South Sudan as well. That is the smallest trade region in Africa, but it's one of the most effective. In fact, I think it's the most effective, and we see a lot of international firms actually, especially equity firms, investment firms, choosing East Africa for that fact, because the East African trade region has 150 million people combined, all right? And now even more, I think, since South Sudan joined. But that country still has a lot of challenges, so it's not very easy to do business there. Now, that means that we have something called a regional market, but it is one of the best trade regions in Africa because the trade barriers have been taken down to a great extent. And that means it is nowhere easier anywhere in Africa to trade across borders and to do business across borders than it is in the East African community. And therefore, when you are stationed in Rwanda, you should not just look at the 12 million people, you should look at the East African community. In fact, here in Rwanda, they often refer to that not as the regional market, but as the national market. I know it's crazy, but they're saying, well, we refer to the East African region as a national market. So I've heard that quite a lot here, and that's something I think that Rwanda also wants to promote. It is a hub within that market, and it's a hub for ease of doing business. And I actually will share a little clip within this video in regards to just how easy it is, because I was so excited. That in a minute. So but on another note, dear African Business Jumpstarters, on another note, I know it's fantastic to think big, but 12 million people, you have sectors such as tourism, agribusiness, ICT, real estate. Just own a share of the 12 million people. Just own a share of that market. And I know that not each of that, that market, of course, the market share does not always relate to the number of people here. but also to the number of people visiting, for example, the tourists, or to the number of people that are active within a sector. ICT, of course, for example, depending on what you are doing, the 12 million market share is not becoming so important, because yes, your industry may be very, very small within the country. I understand that. But still, if you as a startup actually look at owning a huge share of that industry in Rwanda, I mean, that is something to look out for. Own that share, like become a main leader. So let me tell you, for example, there's someone here in mushroom production who I met, and he's been here for a few years. It's a social enterprise. But guess what? He said, we're not just owning the entire market for mushrooms in Rwanda, we're actually also the biggest player for mushrooms in Kenya. Here you go. So he is based here, he's enjoying the ease of doing business here, and not to say that you cannot do it in Kenya, because Kenya is a fantastic market as well, but just to say, yes, you can be based in a smaller market, you can own or even lead in regards to becoming the top player in your industry in Rwanda, and then you can still become a major player in the rest of the East African community. Another example, I met someone here in real estate, and he said, well, I've tried in Uganda and I have colleagues in real estate in Kenya, and that sector is very, very competitive. So sometimes when you come as a new starter and you don't have a lot of money, it can be very difficult in certain industries that are already very competitive, in other African markets, to actually compete with the big players that have like a head start and they have a lot of money. But he said, here in Rwanda, with the little money that I came with, I could actually start something substantial, because competition is still relatively low in most sectors, including real estate, and therefore with the little money that I have, I could do so much. And now, because he knows the sector now, he's like, oh my God, there is so much to do here. And he has the potential now to become a major player. And by the way, even Volkswagen Germany is here in Rwanda now. They're a major company, so they were not worried about the fact that Rwanda is a small market. I think they used the strategy that I believe you should use, thinking of, okay, Rwanda is a very safe market, it has a very enabling business environment. It is always, not always, it has been for a long time among the top 3 in Africa in regards to ease of doing business. And it is a strategy that several companies here are using. They're enjoying that easy business environment. They're joining the very, very positive regulations when it comes to doing business here, and they're enjoying the safety here, and so they've decided to build their headquarters here and then kind of branch out from here, because you have the East African community to the east, and then you have also a huge market to the west, and that is the DRC Congo, a market that is so untapped in so many ways, a very exciting market. Unfortunately, when it comes to the business environment, it is a real struggle there, or can be, for a lot of businesses, because the ease of doing business is simply not there yet. However, you can operate from your headquarters here in Rwanda and do business in the west, the DRC Congo, and reach a huge market there, one of the biggest in Africa. And guess what? A lot of national businesses and international businesses in Rwanda are doing just that. And frankly, when it comes to ease of doing business, it is hard to beat Rwanda. And I say that because I have seen a lot of markets, I've interacted with so many stakeholders, and the speed and effectiveness is something that I hope a lot of other African governments take notice of, and I know they do, because there's a lot of exchange going on, among governments in the continent, and I think that's a great thing. So it's all about learning from each other, learning best practices, and striving to really make Africa a fantastic destination. And right now, I want to share that little clip because I was simply amazed of how effective things can be here in Rwanda. Hi dear Africa Business Jumpstarters, I'm here in front of the RDB, the Rwandan Development Board, and I really have to share what just happened because I'm so amazed. So I came here this morning to attend the office of, or the department, where you can get a power of attorney. So we're investing in land here in Rwanda, and so I needed to transfer the power of attorney to someone who is stationed here, which is the real estate developer. And so I thought, okay, this will take an hour, 2 hours, there's probably queues, and then you have to probably sign a lot of things, they probably ask a lot of questions. Guess what? We were about 5 minutes in the queue, and then the whole thing took another 5 minutes. So the developer had already prepared just a paper, just like a small paragraph that the attorney of the power of attorney would be transferred, and it was just 3 papers and with short paragraphs. These were copies, and then the officer took 5 minutes to complete the whole process. So it was the entire thing was less than 10 minutes done. This is absolutely amazing. I'm really, really amazed. That is an amount of efficiency you will hardly even find in Europe. It took me less than 10 minutes, including queuing and having all the documents signed. We're done, good to go. Fantastic.